It was a quiet Tuesday afternoon until it wasn't. At 2:12 p.m., on the 10th floor of an office building under construction in Houston, Texas, something gave way. A scaffold collapsed. In just 4 seconds, it brought down tons of steel, concrete, and the lives of 3 men. They weren't careless. They weren't inexperienced. They were just doing what they'd done every day, building a future. But the ground beneath them wasn't as safe as it should have been. This wasn't an isolated accident. According to OSHA, over 60 major scaffold collapses occur every year in the US. Most could have been prevented. Because scaffolds don't fail suddenly, they whisper their warnings. A shaky plank, a rusted weld, a worker who says, "Something's not right." But in the rush of deadlines and pressure to deliver, those whispers are often silenced. This is the story of what really happened that day. A real case, real loss, real lessons. We'll break down what went wrong, step by step, so that wherever you are, on a scaffold, leading a team, or managing a project, you'll never have to learn this lesson the hard way. 2:12 p.m. 8 workers were on the 10th floor. 3 stood on scaffolding, lifting rebar into position. 1 worker stepped slightly left. And that was all it took. A sharp snap. Then everything gave way. The scaffold twisted, welded joints cracked, cross braces tore loose like paper. In just seconds, 1.6 tons of steel, concrete, and human life plummeted down the building's face. Later investigations uncovered 3 fatal flaws. 1. The scaffold lacked proper bracing. No cross braces in the midsection. 2. Rusted and reused materials, bent couplers. 3. It was overloaded. Limit, 1.2 tons. Load, 1.6 tons. These aren't just numbers. These are death sentences waiting to happen. And here's the part that haunts everyone. There were signs. The scaffold swayed. Workers joked, "This thing's sketchy." One guy even said, "It shakes too much when you walk." But no one wrote it down. No one spoke up. Because when time is money, safety becomes optional, and people pay the price. When the dust settled, 3 bodies were found beneath the rubble. They never had a chance. 5 more were rushed to the hospital. 2 would never walk again. These weren't statistics. These were husbands, fathers, sons, men who just came to work and never went home. The project came to a halt. Machines were silenced, cranes locked in place. The company lost over $1.8 million in delays, rework, and fines. But that number means nothing compared to the families left behind. OSHA launched a full investigation. Within weeks, 6 major violations were confirmed. The contractor was fined over $170,000. But more than money, the site supervisor was charged with criminal negligence. In court, the prosecutor stood up and said, "This was not an accident. This was a failure of responsibility." And no one could disagree. Because when shortcuts become routine, death becomes predictable, and accountability becomes inescapable. After the tragedy, the question was clear. How do we make sure this never happens again? It starts with prevention. Not after the fall, before the first foot ever steps on the scaffold.
First, the structure.
OSHA requires all scaffolds to support at least 4 times the expected load. That's not a suggestion. It means certified base plates, cross bracing in every bay, steel connectors that lock tight, no cracked welds, no rust, no second guesses. Every shift should start with a scaffold check, not a glance, not a looks fine, a full checklist. All joints secure, weight within limits, any corrosion, cracks, missing pins. If it fails inspection, no one climbs. It rained last night? Inspect again. New materials delivered? Inspect again. Because it doesn't matter if it looked fine yesterday. Yesterday isn't the one standing on that scaffold. You are. You can build the strongest scaffold in the world, but if people are afraid to speak up, it's still dangerous. Safety doesn't live in checklists. It lives in people. That's why every company needs stop work authority. If anyone, no matter their role, sees something unsafe, they should be able to say, "Stop, that's not right," and know they'll be backed up, not punished. This mindset doesn't happen overnight. It takes repetition, leadership, and trust. Daily toolbox talks, weekly safety drills, visible reminders across the site, posters, banners, slogans. But most importantly, managers who walk the talk. So next time you feel something's off, don't keep it to yourself, because that one raised hand, that one pause, might be the moment someone goes home safe. And maybe even the moment you save a life. Let's bring it all together. If you remember nothing else from this story, remember this. What happened? A scaffold collapse on the 10th floor, 3 dead, 5 injured, all because one structure couldn't hold what it was never meant to carry. Why did it happen? No cross bracing, rusted, reused components, ignored warning signs. The system failed. But before it did, people failed to act. How do we prevent it? Build right. Solid structure, daily inspections. Lead right. Empower teams to speak up. Think right. Safety is not optional. Because lives don't get a second chance. But we do. Every morning we step onto that job site. Right now, somewhere across the country, someone is standing on a scaffold that wasn't inspected. Someone is trusting a bolt that was never tightened. Someone is hoping today won't be the day something fails. You can change that. Share this video. Play it in safety meetings. Send it to your team. One link, one watch, one conversation might mean someone walks away instead of falls. Subscribe for more real-world safety breakdowns. And don't forget to download the free scaffold inspection checklist below. Because safety starts long before anyone climbs. It starts with you. Stay sharp, stay safe, stay alive.